Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now August 18th of 2023, and as we get closer to D23, which by the way takes place in early September, it's going to be the very event by Disney in which a lot of fans are going to finally be able to see the atrocity of Snow White 2024 with the official trailer, showcasing of course Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot as the evil queen and Snow White herself. But there's worse things beyond that, and exactly what Disney is up to behind the scenes with a lot of their upcoming projects, let's discuss. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into the subject, shall we? Now, we know one thing about Disney right now is that Bob Iger and the Disney board have been making just the worst decisions possible throughout this year. We know that they've gone through multiple box office failures, multiple failures in the general sense over at Disney World, as well as over at Galaxy's Edge with the closure of the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel, which by the way is going to be closing next month and will be bulldozed in the next couple of months. But what's interesting, even all the more so, is about this actual Disney reset, quote unquote, that is about to actually get greenlit by Bob Iger and the Disney board, that I think spells a recipe for disaster for everything moving forward with their Disney live-action animated film slate. Let's get into the actual details. Now, we know that Bob Iger is, and hopefully you guys will agree, I feel the worst CEO of all time over at Disney. I think that he's been driving the company into the ground. It almost seemingly comes off as intentional, but moving to the next thing here is that with Disney now making multiple changes to all upcoming Disney live-action remakes, however, Bob Iger and the board are now officially focusing on a Disney reset, so to speak, coming after the lockdown, where all live-action remakes are going to receive a different treatment moving onwards. This comes as part of the Disney lockdown, where all live-action films are put on a deep pause for the board to figure out exactly how to properly ramp up their DEI agenda into the following films, such as The Sword and the Stone, Hercules, The Black Cauldron, Lilo and Stitch, Moana, and even a sequel to The Little Mermaid and Snow White, just to name a few. The DEI agenda is planned to keep on going regardless of what happened in the state of Florida. However, as Bob Iger embraces a full-on reset of live-action Disney films to not only embrace these agendas, but to also divert from source material of the original animated movies to make them into reimagined films instead of a beat-for-beat remake of each iconic entry. Now let me stop here for one moment, because there's more to this that we have to talk about, but I will give you guys my 2 cents on this. This is a terrible situation for Disney. It's an awful situation, especially if you all grew up with these animated films and have been betting and wanting to see accurate live-action adaptations of these movies without the DEI and nonsense, without them, excluding the source material, much like with what they are doing with Snow White 2024. From what it sounds like, Snow White is just the beginning of this new era of Disney, where basically not only are they throwing in these terrible agendas, but they're also trashing the source material. Now look, granted, Cinderella back in 2015 and at least honored the source material. Beauty and the Beast at least honored the source material. But we also have aspects here that started to begin to fall apart with The Little Mermaid, and now it's just going full scale with Snow White. It's like literally a new beginning for Disney, and it's going to keep on continuing, and it seems like that they don't care about the money, they don't care about box office failures, they just want to keep pumping out the nonsense. And I feel, and this is something that has to be talked about more often than not, is the fact that we have the top shareholders, Vanguard and BlackRock. These are the top shareholders over at Disney. They have the same exact series of beliefs that a lot of members of the Disney board do, and this is where things get even more complex. Let's get into the actual specifics even further. So, other members of the board, surprisingly, which are the minority, are trying to put an end to only the DEI agenda, but to also prevent the live-action films from ditching the source material of the animated movies. Disney is already looking to rid the idea of Hercules being a demigod for that film to purely focus on Meg mainly, and giving fans a reimagined version of Hades, something that may be of concern to the Hercules fans that grew up with this animated film. Characters' backstories are also planned to get a fully different treatment with the upcoming remakes. This is Bob Iger's plan to create original stories while also pursuing the known characters and titles of said films to boost ticket sales and general moviegoer interest, something that fans of the Disney animated films certainly will not respect. So guys, to put it very simple here, what Bob Iger's doing is that he is literally using the iconic titles of all of the, Disney live action projects, right? To be reimagined material, and to use the titles and to use the characters just to get the common moviegoer into the theater seat and to pay for a ticket. That's basically what it translates to. And then it really makes you wonder, how well is Snow White gonna do? Well, we know a lot of people are beginning to wake up now, because it's not just people online that are very angry over the fact of where Snow White is heading, but it's also regular Disney fans, right? Just regular flat-out Disney fans that are also hating on Snow White. And that is the problem. That goes to show you that Disney really is beginning to face trouble. And the fact that they're still doubling down on this DEI nonsense and really upping the ante on that, regardless of what happened recently with the whole DEI situation, it goes to show you how stubborn Disney really is. Not just Bob Iger, not just the majority of the board members, but it really dwindles down to the weed, to the root of it all. The top two shareholders, BlackRock and Vanguard. More on that, by the way, next week. Stay tuned. We have a lot to talk about those two. But what's interesting about this is that they really are locked in, dead and center, on destroying every single franchise that they lay their hands on, every single remake that they lay their hands on. And I could see why a lot of people are fed up with Disney. There's no doubt about it. The fact that this is all 110% intentional. It is. It has to be said. And I can't stress this enough, that Disney is definitely doing this intentional, no matter what Bob Iger says and lies about how he doesn't get involved in any culture war or anything like that. Anytime he says that, it's just a flat-out lie, and it's really not anything to be taken seriously. He'll say whatever he has to say to just keep, the most common denominator, interested in Disney, to just keep following what they're doing. So I would like to hear what you guys have to say about this entire Disney reset that the board is embracing, that Bob Iger is greenlighting right now, and how it's going to deeply impact those titles like we just named: Hercules, Lilo and Stitch, Moana, Sword in the Stone, The Black Cauldron, a sequel to The Little Mermaid, which is already established anyways, but also Snow White, a sequel to that. We talked about that earlier, and there's more to arrive as well. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.